Hello, I'm John Bachman. Federal authorities now have 6 men in custody accused of trying to join ISIS. Officials say the men plan to go to Syria and fight with the terror group there. Prosecutors believe the Somali Americans were planning their trip over the last 10 months. Some had tried to leave the country multiple times. All of the men are friends. The U.S. attorney for that district in Minnesota says that's not unusual.
What this case shows is that the person radicalizing your son, your brother, your friend may not be a stranger. It may be their best friend right here in town.
Increasing concerns about this now across the country. These 6 men will be in a federal courtroom at some point later today. Meanwhile, 5 Australian teenagers are also under arrest for plotting to attack and kill police officers there. 2 18-year-olds face terror charges, and 3 are also facing related charges.
At this stage, we're comfortable that we have this threat fully contained. I think that's an important message. We have this threat fully contained.
If officers arrested all 5 in the operation over the weekend in Melbourne, they believe they were ISIS-inspired as well. And this has happened in the past in Australia. About 100 Syrian immigrants are now safely on the ground in Italy after their boat sunk in the Mediterranean. That boat flipped over not far from the Libyan coast.
At least 700 migrants may have drowned in the Mediterranean last night. In this moment, some operations are still going on.
Well, Italian officials say the hundreds of immigrants were locked in the bottom part of a ship that was being used by smugglers. A teenager armed with what may have been a homemade crossbow is accused of killing his teacher at a school in Barcelona, Spain. Police say the 13-year-old suspect also had a dagger and a Molotov cocktail. Several more people were hurt in that attack earlier this morning. Oklahoma City has marked 2 decades since one of the deadliest attacks here on U.S. soil. The 168 victims of the truck bombing were remembered at ceremonies yesterday. Former President Bill Clinton, who was in his first term at the time of the attack, says he got ready for this visit to Oklahoma City yesterday by visiting with his granddaughter.
And I looked at her in that crib so I could remember how you felt, those of you who lost your loved ones.
Well, the names of each of those victims was read aloud at the spot where the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building once stood. And strong storms have been whipping through the southeast. Over the weekend, a tornado was spotted yesterday in Alabama in an area where rail cars were blown right off the tracks. Storms also blew down trees and power lines on the Florida Panhandle and in southwest Georgia. In California, firefighters are trying to contain a brush fire, which is still burning just east of L.A. At least 1,000 acres have burned in Riverside County. Yesterday, officials ordered evacuations of about 200 homes threatened by that fire. It appears the whole thing was sparked by an unattended cooking fire. We'll have another Newsmax Now update coming up for you in 30 minutes. Now back to Midpoint.